What is up again, everybody? It's me, Jamie, back with the Dead Simple podcast, and today I'm going to be having my second guest on. He is Nautilus, and he is a pretty infamous member of the Doom community. As far as I know, he's been around since around 2004, 2005. Most of the things that he's known for in the community, while being a hilarious guy and just, I mean, every time the guy's around me, I just laugh. And the goddamn meme. He was actually a pretty significant contributor as a mapper to the community. He was a Kako Award winner with the UDMX series as a compiler and one of the lead authors. But perhaps what he's most known for in terms of mapping is actually the Chill series, and he's currently working on the fourth iteration of that, and I'm actually helping him with a couple of maps in that, so I'm going to be a nice little contributor to that. In addition to that, he helped do some code on UDMX. He's also contributed to the 32 and 24 series, and on top of all that, he is an International Doom League World Champion. 2013. I don't know if there was a winter or summer season that season, but he was also in one of the Master Bowls in 2008. For anybody who doesn't know, the International Doom League was a competitive 3-on-3 CTF league that existed from roughly 2006 to 2014, I believe, and then it actually no, there was a season in 2015, I believe, on Zandronum, and then the next iteration of it inspired the World Doom League, the current structure that's being run by Ralphus and co. Out in UDMX. So if you like you some World Doom League, you got the IDL to thank. So I am going to quit flapping at the gums here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring Nautilus in. So Nautilus, talk to me. How we doing, baby?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Man, it's well, you know what they say. What is it? What did I say last time? I said, oh, okay.
You talking about this?
How white people say another another day in paradise. We're suffering, man, and you're really putting me through it right now.
Don't say that.
I'm just letting you know right now. You're making me really nervous. Okay, buddy.
Sounds less like paradise now.
All right, man. So I just kind of gave you a nice little summary. I put you over the moon. So, I guess, listen, I don't know where I first met you, but I do have just one question to start this off.
What's up?
Why are you the way you are? And I'm just fucking with you.
Oh my God.
No, I'm just messing with you, man. So I think probably around the first time I saw you, me personally, was around 2005, 2006, when I was still a part of Sin and you were still a part of Unidoom, and we were doing clan scrimmages. So talk to me about when you started playing. I know you have a big interest in mapping, amongst other things, but you've been a competitive player. You've been a contributor in many other ways to the community, and you're just a fucking entertaining guy. So just tell me where it all started. The floor is yours.
Man, so flattered. But it all started originally in 2004. That's when I first discovered Doom Online, and that's back when I was I would see how like the players are moving around and their legs aren't moving and they're shooting at each other, and I'm like, what the hell? That's really goofy. And at that time I was on Z Damon. I went by the name Neuro, and I was for some time in a clan called DooM2 Unlimited, T3U. And then I founded my own clan, which was Clan Delta, and it included a couple of people like Italian Stallion and some other more better known members of the community. And then that's the year I started playing Doom, and then eventually I got more into the community like the following year in 2005.
Mm-hmm. And so at that point, like, I guess you probably, like all of us, you jumped around. You noticed a lot of the big players in the community. where did you get involved with Unidoom? Because if people aren't familiar with Unidoom, they're, I would say the longest lasting clan at this point in Doom history. I mean, I guess you have DUI, but like DUI is practically dead. And UD's kind of like a boomer clan too, and they don't really do a lot of Doom activity, but they still have active players. So they're one of the most well-known, well-established clans in the existence in the Doom community, and the port Z-Daemon, like you had mentioned, which is probably the history-rich port of Doom when we talk about where a lot of the competition really blew up, especially in Capture the Flag. So I guess that's my question to you for people who don't know. When and how with Unidoom? Because at that time, around 2005, 2006, there was a lot of drama going on, and it was not safe to be wearing a UD tag publicly in the Z-Daemon community. So how did you get into it?
And yeah, and then like after playing for some time, I would see UD players, going in and out of servers. Would get more of a taste of, the dynamics among people. And I thought, hey, UD seems like a pretty cool clan. And then they pulled that April Fool's prank in 2005 on the 1st of April when they claimed that they were breaking up, and as a result they one of the sub clans that formed from the the alleged breakup was BC, which stands for butt chaps, and it's just like one of a couple of joke clans. Another one was UD2, which had
I remember that,
or DD133.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And I found the BC channel on IRC, and I go in and I was like, "Hey, BC, I heard BC's a superior clan. Like, I want to join you guys." And then so I got into BC, and then eventually, once they decided to conclude that joke about UD breaking up, they got UD back together, and then some people put in a word for me to Ralph and the superiors of UD, and that's how I got in.
So like, who did you get to know in the clan? I guess that's my question, because like at that same time I was trying to get into Sin, and it was a fucking miserable experience with all the fucking background checks they wanted to do to get us into Sin. So I'm assuming that you probably bonded with players. It sounds like, Zanero, which is at the time was DD1. Was it DD133?
DD133.
133 on dial-up too, right? Yeah, on dial-up. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, Zanero, shout out to Zanero. He does he's doing it big with a lot of, our boy Nick Nasty. He's doing a lot of big things with casting and everything. And anytime I think of UD, I think of Fran for whatever reason. So shout out to Fran.
Well, you can't trust that guy.
No, not at all. I wouldn't trust him at all. He sounds funny like, yeah, wait a minute, Jamie. I object to that. Yo, that's not fucking funny. Yeah, water, Coke, water.
Oh no.
Yeah, so my bad. Yo, I don't want to upset you.
Your fault. It's his fault.
All right, man. So Zanero, obviously. How did the introduction to Ralph go? Because like at that time, and he still is, he was a very brash guy. We're talking about UD Ralphus, by the way, commissioner of the World Doom League. And contributor to UDMX as well. I think he's considered one of the lead, developers or something. I don't know what he is to UDMX, but like, yeah, when I think UDMX, I think Ralph is. So, sorry to the devs. I'm not, I know there's lots of you guys and you're, Dr. Sean and you guys are killing it, but I think I think Ralph, right? Like, I honestly just think of that just like sitting on the bald spot on his head, like perfectly.
Mascot, yeah.
Yeah. So how did that go?
There's no formal introduction to Ralph.
Mm-hmm.
He just happened to know of me, and like I said, some people like this dude ACA.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember him.
Is he?
Yeah, but he.
Go ahead.
Say what?
No, go ahead. Well, I'm not trying to be insensitive. Was he one of the guys who killed himself, or no?
No.
There was a member, and I know there was a member in you. I know I remember ACA.
But Assmaster.
Oh, Assmaster. Okay, that's it. Rest his soul, of course.
Rest in peace. Yeah, but yeah, like ACA, he always likes to take credit for being the guy who got me into UD or whatever. But that's dubious, like a lot of his claims are. But Yeah, I mean, I just kind of just like, mingled in. There's no like official meeting
Yeah.
with the commissioner of WBL, Ralph.
You had to wear a suit and shit.
Just sort of happened. Yeah, dude, I was dressed up in a suit right on my fucking desktop, dude, just sweating, making sure my fucking beige little webcam works. My 2005 webcam from Logitech. Yeah.
Nah, man. Back then, you had the fucking handheld ones. You're like just recording
Oh
yourself.
god. And a big ass cord.
Yeah, fucking. Oh man, I can't even imagine. I mean, that's cool because like, I always looked at UD like, despite the fact that they were obviously an infamous clan. I mean, you just had all of these different names, and it's just you saw UD, and it's like the thing that you kind of thought was that's pretty cool, man. Like, it's pretty fucking cool. Like UD, UDMX.
At the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, at the time too, they had the UDM series that was coming out. It was different because they used a different color palette. It looked cool. Like they used all sorts of badass music. Like one of them had the Ocarina of Time theme, the desert. What's the name of that? Do you know it?
Oh, I don't know.
Like okay. Well, shit, dude.
Oh, it's probably the first map, right? Are you talking about?
I don't remember the maps. I just know it was like in almost like a tropical sandstorm kind of play. Well, not a sandstorm, but like the idea was it was supposed to be in like a tropical place. But I don't fucking know.
Tropical Island.
Yeah, something like that, and they're playing like a little Spanish guitar thing, like do 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 do.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Do 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 do. Yeah. Is it the Gerardo Valley? Is that how you pronounce it, Gerardo? Somebody check me on that in the comments. Yeah, I don't know, man. I played the game, loved the game, but yeah. So like, back then, like, if you think UD, you're just like, dude, they're cool. So, I mean, at that point, we all know about Ralphus and Kilgore, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't even want to talk about it. It's been talked about so much, but basically, the gist of it is there's this idea that Ralphus. Well, it's not an idea. He did. He went to, was it John Romero? He went to ID Games, whatever you want to call it, because it was determined that Z-Damon was illegally distributing the DooM2 WAD.
Right.
And he went to them over it, and there was a big drama over this. Kilgore claims that Ralph tried to send the FBI to his house and, you know, take his family, and, you know.
That might be a stretch. Yeah, take his family.
Yeah, you know, and Ralph.
Help, yeah. I'm going to kidnap your family with the FBI's help.
You know, and Ralph, like, drop kicked Kilgore or something. The long story of it short story rather, is that it's a long story. It's complicated. I don't really want to talk about it.
It's not good to dropkick people.
Yeah, and it's not good to have the FBI steal somebody's family in another country, by the way. You know, ignoring all of the legality issues there.
Yeah.
But so that happened, and that's really what put a black mark on the UniDoom label. Plus you had the CodeImp thing where CodeImp DDoSed a bunch of Z-Damon servers, and DeathSword took a ban for that because DeathSword just happened to be in the same IRC channel as CodeImp when he launched that attack. Yeah, so they pinned down DeathSword on that one too.
That's so stupid, yeah.
So, you know, at that time, DeathSword and Ralphus were the leaders of UniDoom. So they got blackballed, like, right away. And so anybody wearing a UD tag, you know, they're going to say, well, we had Human Bones as a moderator. But, like, no, stop it. If you had a UD tag, you were automatically looked at differently. So right. I guess, did you feel the heat with that? I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess you guys probably didn't give a shit. But if you weren't Ralph or you weren't DeathSword, it didn't really matter ultimately.
I mean, at the time that I joined UD, I feel like most of that had already transpired because this was like April 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was aware of what had been going on, but I didn't really think much of it. I just thought, okay, it's just okay. They're having a spat with the tyrannical rulers of Z-Damon. It's understandable, you know. It didn't really like shock me in any sense. And the thing is that I think, like you mentioned at some point earlier, that I mostly played Skulltag at the time.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I've always been more of a Skulltag / Andronum player than a Z-Damon player. So
okay.
In that respect, it didn't really affect me much.
So you didn't even know, yeah. I just remember like the cool thing, the coolest fucking thing, dude. I keep on saying this. I'm gonna keep hitting it home because like that was UD's motto too. Like
Go for it.
You know, we're too cool for school, baby.
Oh god, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop. Was they were on OFTC? Was that the IRC server that they used?
That's the IRC server, yeah.
Yeah, so like you had to connect to a different IRC server entirely to even like get down and vibe with them.
What's funny is that eventually the entire Doom community got kicked off of that server.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The server admins kept getting complaints. Yeah,
yeah, because people were like, because it wasn't even technically like a gaming thing, right? Like, didn't they say this isn't for games or this isn't for Doom? There was like some sort of protocol that they put out where it's like, if you're a Doom player, you will be banned.
Yeah, OFTC stands for Open Free Technology Community, if I recall correctly.
So how is Doom excluded from that if it's open and free?
I mean, I don't know. You gotta ask them about their politics.
They're probably not even around anymore. I could be wrong. I mean,
I think they are.
Are they? IRC still alive?
In very diminished numbers.
Yeah, I was going to say, in the era of Discord, I don't see why one would ever use IRC at this point.
Oh, yeah, that shit is passe.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool, when we were young and, you could change. It was like AIM or like ICQ. You could change the colors of your text, the font. You could, personalize it, customize it.
Cis font.
Yeah, the comic one.
Yellow on black.
Yeah, I'm
dude.
Yo, I'm a fucking badass, bro.
Okay.
Even set like passive aggressive away messages and shit, like not here right now, little bitch. That's more aggressive, but I can't think of anything passive aggressive. You got something passive aggressive to tell me?
You're doing a very great job.
That's good. I like that. So yeah, Unidoom. I've talked about that enough. I want to talk about when I first met you, because I just remember like, who the fuck is this guy? Because he's a smartass. He's running his mouth. I don't even know him. He's not good at Doom. He's terrible at Doom 2 Hell on Earth, okay? This guy sucks. I hate him already. Yeah. That's Sin and Unidoom, the clan that I was in at the time. We were actually doing a bunch of scrimmages. That's the first time I remember seeing you around. And your name was in all caps. So I'm like, yo, this guy's like obnoxious. He's pompous. I got to get to know him. And I just remember just all the time, you just ended everything with, heh, or you'd be like, God damn. And I'm just like, what the fuck is he talking about? So tell the world right now, the floor is yours. You are responsible for this meme. Heh. God damn. So tell everybody.
Oh God. I mean, I don't really like buy into these memes that much, but that's it's like a good punctuation mark, you know what I mean? That's why I say hey all the time, because it's like, I type something and usually I'm only like half serious, even though I usually have like some sort of message to deliver. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to like some troll just like talk shit to people. Usually I got something to say.
Yeah.
I'm not bragging. And but I always mark my my words with a heh, because it's like it kind of shows you that, okay, like there's a chance that like I might not be completely serious about it, and I'm willing to hear someone out after my spiel. And but at the same time, it's acknowledging like the humor in what I'm saying or whatever.
Oh, there's definitely humor. Because, I mean, I feel like you say heh, and I feel like, yo, it's like you say heh, and it's like this simple 3-letter word, but I'm like, this motherfucker is mocking me. He just called me everything in the dictionary. He's trying to fight, but like...
And he's chuckling at it, yeah.
But I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, first of all, he sounds like he's from New York. He's got this deep voice. I'm pretty sure he's gonna stab me, so maybe I shouldn't say anything to him. Like, maybe I should just like keep my distance. I was never sure. I was fascinated by you. I always thought you were funny, even though you could be like this gigantic troll. I don't know. Like, it's just this funny thing where it's just like you're witty and like you just have something to say for every situation, and you're never at a loss for words. So I think that's where our little friendship or whatever it was, because at that time we weren't. I mean, we were never super close. I never knew you that well. But I remember that we were working on a mapping project together. JDI, baby. Just dig it.
Yep.
And I was a terrible mapper at that point. But like you had some good things. Now, is that what like eventually turned into Chill? Or did you just scrap that shit entirely and say, all right, it's time to start Chill?
I don't know, that shit just faded away because that was all the way back in like 2007.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, put it away. So really the next project that I worked on was UDMX.
Yeah.
And then it would be a couple years later when I would release the first installment in the Chill series in 2009.
Right. Okay. So let's keep it this time frame between, let's say, 2005 and 2009. I think all of us that were really active during that time, I think what we remember the most is the evolution of Capture the Flag in Z-Damon. It did exist in Skull Tag. I know it did, but I can't speak to it too much because I wasn't active in that community. So I'm going to speak from my vantage point. A lot of our viewers happen to be involved in the Z-Damon community, but there were Skull Tag players, and I think the history is there. So let's talk about that. What do you remember the most about that time?
What I remember the most, I mean, there's a lot of things to name. It's such a general question, dude.
Yeah, I know.
What do I remember the most? Really, like what really stood out to me at that time was just like the overall competitive spirit.
Yeah,
And mainly because we were young at the time. I was still in my like mid-late teens at the time, and I never was like a full-blown, competitive player. I would just compete, sometimes when I felt like it. And because I'm pretty inconsistent. Like there's some days I feel like playing Doom, other days I don't. And but yeah, it's that excitement that I'm kind of missing
right.
at this point. It was the excitement of, just like getting on Skull Tag, for example, and then like getting your ass beat by like UD Ace of Spades, and then you're like, oh my god, dude, I got to get that fucker back. Like I got to get good at this game. And that's really like the main thing that I miss about that time that I kind of like remembered.
Oh, you're being far too nice.
Oh, come on.
I was going to use the word like total degeneracy. Like
You're a dick. What the fuck is wrong with you, Jay, man? I came on here like talk about Doom in a positive way.
And that is two. By the way, that's two words, not one.
Man.
Nah, in all seriousness, like it was just like at that point, I think the clan. I mean, Rust and I talked about this a little bit on when I had him on. So to fill you in, basically at that point, the clan scene was kind of dying. Even though you had clans that stuck around, clan wars were just like horse shit because there was no standard, right? Everybody would just try to push to get things that they wanted. Like somebody would say, well, clan wars are only CTF. Others would say, no, clan wars are dual CTF and team deathmatch. So like,
oh yeah,
every time you had a clan war, it would be people, posturing to get the rule set to be as advantageous to them as possible. So, I mean, you had a lot of ugly interactions. Sin and DUI was one. DUI pretty much got into it with everybody because they had a legacy of being dickheads with the newer community members. Because
ancient skills.
Yeah, no, ancient. That's what it is, and that's where it'll remain.
Ooh,
yeah, no burn.
easy.
Easy clap. Is it bad as you got Eddie Spaghetti?
Spaghetti's doing fine. Don't worry about him.
With more on that later. So yeah, they were just they talked shit and they were such dicks to everybody. And like then you had the formation of DX where you had like a lot of these top players from various clans out across the community that just like came together and formed like this super clan, and they fucking bodied everybody.
Yeah.
I know UD was like one of the only clans that could really hang with him. But that all eventually kind of, you don't think y'all did?
I mean, there were times when we could. I mean, I don't know. For the most part, DX did fucking kick the shit out of UD's asses.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a couple times when we kind of did well, but and probably as the only clan that, as you said, that can only like really hold some sort of torch up to DX.
Yeah, but they were short lived, right? Like UD has like longevity, right?
Yeah, because UD it's more than a clan. It's kind of like its own community.
Oh,
DX was just kind of like one of many like passing Doom clans that only lasted maybe like 2 years tops, 1 year tops.
UD Mafia.
So come on, don't say that.
Yeah, my
Those
bad.
Scary words.
Yo, the type of words that might get one in trouble.
Stabbed. Yeah.
Oh, you said I'll get stabbed
Yeah, by alt stab.
by all stab. Goddamn Eric. But
Man,
but listen, basically that's a joke that UD has amongst themselves. That is not me. That is not my joke. I did not
they're
originate that.
not the mafia.
Yo, I mean, sometimes I'm kind of scared.
Bunch of cosplay.
Okay, what
Don't
kind
take
of
them seriously,
okay,
yeah.
no, kind of what kind of cosplay? Because now I gotta know.
Pinstripe suit wearing motherfuckers playing anime. Are you kidding me, dude? That's fucking ridiculous, man. They ain't no mafia. Get out of here, Ralph.
They're definitely a they're a community. I think that's the best way. They are their own community. Some people have called them a cult. I wouldn't go that far.
Sometimes they can be.
Sometimes they can be. Okay. You would know better than I would. I remember too from that time frame. Speaking of UD, funny little story. I remember I played against Blair in a duel one time, and I beat him 50-49 in like this like horribly bad gameplay by both of us in D5M1, and that's the last time I ever saw him. And then one day I just saw him with like a UD tag on, and I was just like so mad. I was like, "Yeah, I beat that guy. Why does he get a UD tag?"
Hey, good days and bad days, you know.
Never that. But
All right.
no, I'm just fucking with you. But yeah, I mean that time was lit. I mean, as much as I'm dogging it, like the reality is we were all young, we were dumb, we said stupid shit, and the internet had like no censorship at that point. So like,
Yeah.
I mean, it was all hung out there. I mean, Challenge TV was a cesspool.
Oh, the one with the demos.
Yeah, man. So like, think back to that where like you didn't even have to make an account. You could just take a demo. You can record whatever you want. You can put it up there and you could say A versus B result, and the comment sections would be on fucking fire. People were getting doxxed in the comment sections in 2006 and 2007. It
Like,
was
literally?
yeah, like people's personal information was being put out there. Like,
That's not good.
yeah, it was bad, man. I mean, I think it was mostly a lot of those like RFA degenerate guys, Red fucking Army, like Juggalo and Pox and all of them.
Yeah.
Like, real pieces of shit. I mean, to this day, like just literal
pieces of shit.
yeah, literal walking garbage. Like I think it was, and T Death was another one.
Oh yeah.
Little bitches behind their little key.
Behind her little keyboard.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So
That was the toughest guy.
were you there when he said that? I wasn't there, so I know of the meme. So go ahead and talk about it because you were there. Tell me because I need to know.
I really don't remember all the details, but I do remember him saying that. I don't remember what channel it was in.
Mm-hmm.
In the UD channel, I'm not sure, but he was getting pretty pissed at as you can tell, at just all these people just talking smack about DOI and just kind of treating it as an infantile clan, as a thing of the past.
I mean, listen, this guy was like DDoSing people. I got DDoSed by him. So like,
Oh, really?
oh yeah, fuck him. Like, they used to call him Shrek. He was an ugly motherfucker, dude. Like, I don't like to make fun of the way people look. You can't help the way you look, right? I mean, I guess you kind of can now with plastic surgery.
A lot about who you are.
But I mean, yeah, he definitely went backwards on the evolutionary scale.
Hug.
Yeah, he looked like a fucking like a fucking ape, dude.
Yelling at you from his little keyboard. It's like, let's kick him out of our land, guys.
But yeah, it was, that guy was responsible for so much. I mean, in a lot of ways,
he's an entertainer.
Yeah, but like just kind of representing like the antiquated thought of like, I'm DUI, I was around in the old Dwango servers, therefore I'm better. And it's like, most of the DUI guys could not hang with the new players. And I liked quite a few of them, but they just weren't there. Like,
yeah,
They just were like guys like Tells. Tells was really good. Tracy Lords was really good.
Badfish.
I mean, do you really like consider Badfish a DUI member? He was.
Really.
I mean, he wasn't really like. I mean, he was a great player, like definitely a quote unquote Doom god. But like,
cool dude.
yeah, I didn't know him that well.
He's really funny.
Yeah, I know he was infamous for working dev up all the time. But yeah, he was different. But I just know, getting back to it, like I feel like this time frame from like 2005 to 2009 was like the most lit time in Doom, because that's when you had the formation of the International Doom League. And unfortunately, given things between Ralph and Kilgore, it pretty much had to operate in private. Just to give context to everybody, at first Damon would let them like advertise the league and signups and everything on the forums, but as time went on, that went away, and it just became more and more of an isolated community, which I think ultimately was a bad thing for the game. But those fucking IDL games, I wasn't around. Like I was on a couple teams for 2006 and 2007 years, but I flaked. So talk to me about like where you were at that time and like the private community and what's going on.
Yeah, my first venture into IDL was actually in 2006, and it was kind of an impromptu, beginning, because I was basically like a free agent, and the semifinals were already approaching, and for whatever reason, there's one team that was called the Three Amigos. It had Candy Kid, if you remember him,
yeah, and
someone else, and basically the third guy had flaked, just like you, dude. And
my bad, man.
And then I volunteered because back then, I mean, I wasn't even like an official free agent. I don't think IDL even had like this concept of a free agency.
Yeah,
they just said like whoever's available, you wanna just fucking help these guys out. Like it's the semifinals, dude.
Yeah,
I'm like, right, yeah, I'll do it. And I played in the semifinals. We didn't win, but that was the first my first time playing in the IDL. And then like the next time was actually there are a couple seasons that I played in the IDL in the following years. Like in 2007, I decided to be captain of an ill-fated team called Bang Bros.
Okay, go on.
Clem Hazard and some other chump. And
shout out to Tony.
And we basically all flaked.
That's
what happened.
I could only wonder why. Like,
right.
Bang Bro. What was it?
Weed and porn. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you guys just have the tag like BB or?
It was BB and scopes in parentheses.
Oh man. Yeah, you guys were edgelords. You were definitely pushing the boundaries there. You better watch out.
Very forgettable though. I mean, we just kind of like came and went in a quick little vanish and a little shimmer.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I don't have shit to
say. There's another team that I wasn't captain of it, but it was Shaikoten, the guy who started the 32 and 24 series. He was the captain, and he decided to bring me and his brother Exton on board to create a team called Snacks.
I remember that team.
And we basically did the same shit. Yeah, we basically just all flaked again. But then my shining moment came in 2008 when I wound up on a team with Envy, who was your fellow Sin member
at the time. Yep.
And Human Bones. And I don't know if you remember, but we did pretty well. And then we managed to beat Chain Dude's team, Pack.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because that was a team. Yeah, they had gone undefeated up until that point, and we were the first team to defeat them. And then, and as a result, be able to solidify our place in the semifinals and on. And then we proceeded to face Ralph's team in that Master Ball. And in spite of a close match, we ended up losing.
Yeah, and that's against Ralph and White Boy. I want to say we're on that team.
And Clem Hazard.
And Clem Hazard. Okay, I didn't remember who their third was. So Tony again, shout out to Chad as well.
Oh, yeah.
you know, all my people. Yeah, I remember, you know, there was a big thing with Envy, that, you know, he wasn't necessarily a great player, but like, man, like he just knew how to play competitively, right? Like,
Oh yeah, he had that fire in him.
like one of those, you know, like one of those WNBA players. Like his fundamentals are great, but he can't dunk. You know,
Right, yeah.
Futurama reference for
He's good
anybody.
at feeling people out too. He's a very
Oh yeah,
social kind of guy.
oh he's a great leader. I have no doubt that like
No,
he's the
he's
type of
great.
guy.
Yeah,
Because
he knows that guy.
how could you not like that guy, right? Like,
Chad was his
yeah,
name.
Chad, my boy Chad. We were talking to him recently. We played some
Oh
League of
yeah,
Legends stuff with him.
I thought I saw like a screenshot of that somewhere.
Yeah, he was. He's been around. I mean, you know, he's got it. You know, he's got his stuff going on in his life now, and he's pretty busy. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Oh, it was fun. Yeah. No,
but-
me, him, and Bones would have like 3-way conference calls over the phone to discuss like our upcoming strategy in the next
man.
IDL game.
Our Doom strategy.
And Bones, like after the call, Bones would hit me up and be like, "Dude, how long were you waiting for Envy to shut the fuck up?" I'm like, a long time, dude. I feel you.
Yo, you gotta calm down, Bones.
Yeah, man.
You gotta relax. Yeah.
Seriously, that season though, that was really truly like one of my shining moments because like I ran some sick flags against Pac. You know, like on that one Rock King map, fucking Agazoths or whatever, base of bopping.
Oh yeah,
fucking
map 13. Yeah,
it's like with a lot of like the stone ledges and shit.
Yeah, so what it was it was actually really ahead of its time when you look at it for Doom CTF. So you had the blue armor in the front of the base and the little acid pit. And then you had the soul sphere in the back of the base where you would actually had to do like this really tricky like jump on a couple of crates to get to it. And there was also the plasma there. So in addition, so the runner takes all the power-ups. I think at this time the meta was different. I think at that time the meta was to give your defender the power-ups, but it ended up switching around where you gave your runner the power-ups and you had this long middle of the map, and it's like you said, like these big stones that are curvy, and then you've got lifts on the side that go into the base and they go up a floor.
Oh yeah.
And you could come or you wrap around and you could just grab the flag and run straight out. And if you had power up, so you've got 200 armor with the blue armor, so you're talking about what 60% 66% damage reduction, something, or was it 50? I don't remember.
I don't remember, dude.
Yeah, I don't remember the values, but you know, you're talking like significantly hard to kill. And like you would just, if that guy was not spot on with that plasma defense, like if you killed him, you'd run out with that flag and you'd be gone. So like the map had a lot of strategy because you're like, okay, as a mid and a defender, it's my job to find the guy with the power-ups and beat the shit out of him before he gets to my flag. Because if he touches that flag with 200 heart or 200 armor and 200 health, that's a fucking score. He's gone. Like, I can't stop that, right? Because he could tank like 3 super shotgun shots. So
yeah, then SR50 across the middle.
Yeah, so like that map was actually like, in my mind, maybe, and it was a 32 and 24 map, which I want to get to in a second. But like that, in my mind, is one of the best competitive maps that the CTF
fun map
has ever had. I'm actually like really sad that it's not included any longer.
Yeah.
Because I still think even by today's standards, like that's really good gameplay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little linear in that, you know, if you have power-ups, you score, and if you don't, you don't. But, like, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, and I don't think it's that simple either. But it's a great map, one of my favorite maps. So that came from the pack that we've kind of talked about, and you were involved in the project. 32 and 24 has had several iterations, but, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. The idea was to create 32 maps in 24 hours. And at this time, the community for Doom was not only huge and full and ripe with players, but the lifeblood of the Doom community has always been the mapping community, the people who are contributing new maps and new content that way. So that's what I never contributed a map to it. So like, again, I'm speaking from secondhand information here. But I believe that's what it was, right? And I'll let you take the floor and talk to more about it and kind of what everything and how it started. Shaikutin started it, so I guess start from there.
Yeah. I was in that channel that we had. I forgot what channel it was. It was like a little private channel. I think he actually started a channel specifically to discuss the whole idea of 32 and 24. And what I remember is that he and Deathsword were like the two minds behind 32 and 24. And there weren't really many of us, or maybe like 6 of us in that channel, give or take. And they're like, you know what? Let's make 32 maps in 24 hours. Like, fuck like the quality or whatever. And, you know, let's not worry about like details. Let's just make 32 maps in 24 hours.
Right.
But then we managed to get more people on board, and that's how 32 and 24 1 happened. And then we decided, okay, we should just keep doing this until eventually, instead of just making 32 maps in 24 hours, later on, we then decided that we should first make 32 maps, basically layouts in 24 hours, and then detail those layouts over the course of a week or so. That's basically like, you know, how long they would normally take to detail those maps after deciding to, you know, take this approach.
Right. Yeah, and the idea being that keeping that name as a legacy to the original. There were a lot of maps, and I don't know from what iterations which maps came from, but that come to mind. And unfortunately, I'm going off of map numbers, so I'm not going off of names unless I remember. Generic Gray is a name that I remember.
Yeah, that's by Mephisto.
Gargantuan, which you can't really say the second part of that in today's in today's culture.
Come on, just say it. 'Cause I have no idea what you're talking about.
Rock King's map 22 or 23.
Refresh my memory a little bit.
With the soul sphere in the middle, with like the gothic textures.
Right, yeah.
Really good. It was a masterable map. But the name of it's Gargantuan Retarded, for anybody who doesn't know.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me, dude.
But my bad, man. Are you gonna cancel? Yeah, are you gonna cancel me?
I'm actually retarded, dude. I take huge offense to that.
Yo, my bad, dude. I didn't mean it.
Asshole. All right, dude.
But yo, fucking baited me. But yeah, so that's the name of the map. I think at this point they just call it like Gargantuan, and I mean that's what I call it. I just avoid saying the second part.
Gargantuan map.
The Gargantuan fuckhead. Like you just
some Gargantuan.
Yo, let's play some Doom 2, Hell on Earth, Gargantuan Capture the Flag, baby.
I'm excited.
I can tell. But yeah, great map. I mean, all things considered, maybe the choice in name was a little off, but very, very, very different times. By the way,
still popular. I mean, the map.
Oh yeah, it was played in the WDL this season.
Yeah,
I think week 2, if I'm not mistaken. Another map that was ahead of its time. I mean, Rock King was actually 13. The Bop and Bass, A's Bop and Bass, and Gargantuan were both made by Rock King, and he's another character. Holy fuck!
Oh
like,
yeah, dude.
It's hard to just like not laugh when I think of him too. But he is a nice guy too. But he was also funny. Great player as well. Great fucking player in his time.
Oh yeah, he was a beast.
But yeah, I mean, like those are still maps that I think, you know, obviously Gargantuan being around, and I'd love to see A's Bop and Bass as well, because I think that's also a fantastic map.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the 32 and 24 pack, great pack. Which then you eventually go on to do UDMX. So UDMX is supposed to be like the UDMWad, right? Like this is UDMX. Yep. This is like the biggest and brightest. Was it the last one in the series?
It was the last one.
Yeah, so it was the 10th edition. Or was it no?
The fourth
edition. Well, yeah, never mind. I'm thinking of the
oh, shit, dude.
Yo, my bad.
A sweatshop?
I mean, it could be, man. Listen, man. UD had a lot of mappers.
Dwango, that's for sure.
Yo, let's be honest. Most of the Dwango maps were trash. Like
it's ancient.
You know, they basically just are like, all right, let's start off with Doom 2 map 1 and let's remake it. And that's how you could summarize most Dwango maps. Just copy and paste and shit and just like flipping it around.
Putting sectors everywhere.
Yeah, they fucking did terrible. There are some good maps, but most of them are trash. So So talk to me about UDMX, the 4th installment, by the way, of the UniDoom deathmatch series.
So UDMX was a WAD that had already been worked on for some time, just shortly after UDM3's release, and it was worked on and off. I mean, people worked on and off on it for about like 2 years until like sometime in 07, where we decided to finally make something happen, and that was like one of the most vocal proponents of this idea, because I love the UDM series and I really wanted to see another UDM happen.
Right.
And yeah, eventually we just started resuming work on it, because originally it was going to be called UDM Legends, and then there were a couple other names that we were thinking of, contingent names like UDMC, like UDM Classic, and stuff like that. And originally it was going to have like a dark theme. It was going to have like kind of like a purplish palette, like kind of like a gothic, theme, which is pretty interesting in retrospect. And there were maybe like 4 maps at the time, and back when it was using that palette, and I think only one of them really survived as the map that has all our pictures, map 30 in UDMX.
Right.
After getting completely revamped in terms of aesthetics and stuff. But yeah, 2007 was pretty much the time when we started working on UDMX, and there were a handful of mappers, just like you said. UD was full of them, like me, Rock King, Ralph, Didi, aka Zanero, among some other people, and we worked on it for about a year or so. I mean, we weren't like really like consistent or like working on it like every single day.
Yeah, y'all weren't fucking sweatshopping it.
Right, yeah. Got to be fair.
Can I say that?
What?
Sweatshopping it, or am I going to get deplatformed?
Dude, do I look like a run Twitch?
Yeah, whatever, man. Just continue.
You're getting all nervous and shit. Come on, dude, let me talk.
My bad, dude.
No, you're good. But yeah, like,
I wouldn't give a fuck if I wasn't. No, I'm just playing. Go ahead.
Dude, you're such a pussy.
Okay, UDMX. I'm sorry for getting off course.
Look, UDMX 2008, Jamie.
My bad, dude.
Was the time we really picked up speed, and I was a dude who was compiling the WAD for a while and just collecting people's maps and putting them in the WAD until I just handed it off later on to other people. And yeah, we managed to come up with a total of 32 maps, as we wanted, and we released it at the very end of 2008, and then we ended up winning a Calc Award for the best multiplayer WAD.
And that
for the next year.
Yeah, because there's like an eligibility point with that, and it's done through Doom World, right? And I know like Do and a bunch of the other guys there write up, pretty much
reviews.
Yeah, reviews and everything on it, and I mean, they're very, very in-depth, detailed reviews.
Oh yeah,
I was a part of. It's funny because when we were working on Just Dig It, which would have been like 2006, 2007.
Right.
I never completed a map for that series. I just remember making a bunch of bad shit and like yeah, man, this is great, and you're like, yeah, sure, whatever, fuck yourself, and but I was working on, at the time, the Sin WAD with Rust. Now that would go on to be Eon DM. And one of the maps there, I actually took a lot of inspiration from some things that you had done, that I'd seen you done in the Just Dig It series that we were working at. Like, you used a lot of these like DooM2 textures. Like, you didn't really use a lot of custom textures. Yeah. But you used like vanilla textures in like really creative ways, where like you do like, scrolling textures with like the computer span textures, and you do lights and you'd position them at these like really interesting angles to like really bring out the colors, or it was it kept like this vibrant like kind of feel to it, but it felt like Doom, and like you were really good with contrasting as well. Chandu talks a lot about that too, like contrasting your colors to really give like the map a feel of transition, openness, and just completeness. And I took a lot of inspiration from that because I felt like you had done that really well too. And obviously, you'd won a Calc Award with UDMX, excuse me. But when I think of like all the maps that you've done, when I think of the series that you've contributed to and you've made, I think of the Chill series because you kind of have like this really unique thing. I think, with the music is my favorite part because it's like, these are really good maps actually, but like it is what it says it is. It's like play Doom 2, baby, and chill. So like, tell me where this started. Obviously, as I said in the introduction, you're currently working on the 4th iteration of it. So give us some information on the Chill series.
Yeah, Chill. It as an idea, it arose back in 2009, just from my, my desire to just kind of like let loose and just be free to experiment with all sorts of just impromptu layouts and stuff. Like I would make a layout and just follow wherever my heart takes me,
Right.
and then and just make a dual map out of it. And that's basically how the first Chill installment came about. And because I've always been a fan of just like these small, like obscure dual maps that have kind of interesting layouts where there's no symmetry. You don't really quite expect the rooms to be arranged as they are in these maps. What with all the like angled walls and stuff and corridors.
Yeah.
And so, and that kind of inspired me to create Chill.
Got it. So obviously anybody that, is the lead behind any project, you're likely going to bring on guest mappers. Who are all the different types of people that you've had work on your different iterations over the years? You had mentioned Ralph being one, I think, but I know maybe you hadn't, but I know Ralph has done WADs for Chill.
Yeah. What do you mean WADs for Chill? You mean maps?
Or maps? Yeah, man. That's I'm definitely not under the influence of anything.
Yeah, he made a whole WAD just for Chill.
Man. Yo, he was making it for you.
No, but real talk though, the first 2 Chill installments didn't have any guest mappers. It was all just me, just fucking around, just making layouts and then just trying to make something out of them.
Right.
Without really like, taking things like detail and shit too seriously. And then when the 3rd installment came along, Rock King and Ralph were the 2 guest mappers.
Gotcha. Yeah. I knew Ralph was one. I didn't know if Rot or anyone else had contributed to him. Shout out to me. I'm making the best map in Chill 4 in case anybody's interested.
Yeah.
Oh, you wouldn't?
I just said I was going to say that you're one of the mappers.
Oh, okay. Well, I've seen Chill 4 because I've worked on it with you. I've helped you do some testing. It's a lot of fun, man. And I think the WAD has a lot of potential in so many different capacities. Like, it's not just dual. I see a lot of team deathmatch map potentials in it because they're like these wide open maps. Some of them are like, I'm thinking of the one with like the big wood flats in the middle and you're just like boom sticking across the map. And like stuff like that is like, you know what? We all get caught up in Doom 2 about, the super shotgun and the BFG, but we forget that other weapons exist. And I love when I see mappers really highlight the power of other weapons and emphasize the usage of them, because that in and of itself can just feel really fresh. But then like you've just got the music and everything. So I've been through 1 and 2 and 3, but like obviously I'm biased because I've worked on 4 with you, and I plan on contributing a few more maps once I get finished up with some other projects. But it's been what I've seen already. I think last I knew we were on 7 maps, right? I don't know what we're at now.
Actually, 6 maps.
6? Okay.
Now I think we're technically at 7, yeah.
Okay. Because I know you were talking about throwing one out because I know you were on the fence about one, but I didn't know how far that went. Because initially I was going to be like map 7, but I'm map 6 now, right?
Yeah, you're map 6.
Okay.
Actually, I think you're still map 8. Like, I really haven't decided on like an official number for you.
Oh, you're just making numbers up and shit?
Yeah, dude. Just to sound like we're making progress.
No,
but real talk. Go ahead.
Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, I wanted to like touch on the philosophy of Chill.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because like a lot of people, they go a little bit too overboard with detail. And what I like to do is make a map that details itself, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, you got to lay out in front of you. And instead of like adding new sectors, to add like, little highlights and accents to existing sectors, you can just, toy around with like the existing sectors' heights, ceilings, and floors and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then like let the architecture itself, the architecture of the layout, detail the map. And I also and like you mentioned, Chill 4 can support not only dual, but it can also support TDM and even FFA to some extent, depending on the map. Because I've chosen to use a format where maps that are more suitable for TDM or FFA, they're put contiguously with like the small maps,
Right.
that are more for dual, but still, theoretically speaking, still able to be, used for other modes.
For sure.
I made like a alternating format where like you have a large map and a small map and so on and so forth. And I even sometimes like kind of like consider what it would be like to play in a new school mode on some maps, which is why I choose not to make certain, lines impassable, so you can like jump to certain places and so on.
Yeah, it's actually like really creative because you're thinking about, well, people can just find out things by accident, right? Like, sure, like we make directions and stuff and what to do, readme text files with any WAD that we create, but that doesn't mean people read it. A lot of times they establish DM flags or deathmatch rules based on kind of what the expected precedent is. So if for whatever reason, because this was a big thing in Skulltag, I know it was common to go into D5M1 servers and have jump and free look. And as a Z-Damon player, when I came over to Skulltag and saw that, I'm like, this is fucking filthy. What is this?
Yeah.
Like, who are you people? But I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, it just speaks to the fact that if something is established a certain way, that line of thinking is going to be ever present amongst the player base in that community. So yeah, somebody may very well one day just say, okay, well, I'm going to run Chill 4 with jump and free look enabled, even though that may have never been your intention. So like, that's actually like a really intuitive thing, because you're saying to yourself, hey, you know what? It very well could be that somebody's going to fuck up and do that anyway. So, maybe, and not that that's necessarily your mindset. You're just leaving it open, which I think ultimately is good for the WAD, because that's how you get it played. Another unique thing about it is the Plutonia set. So talk about that for Chill 4, because I actually thought that was fucking cool.
Oh yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I've been in love with the Plutonia experiment themes for a long time.
Yeah.
And like the first 10, 11 maps, especially the first so-called episode of Plutonia, like I really love the theme of those maps, like the just the grassy themes with a stone, and like the vaguely like Aztec themes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I really liked it, mainly because I generally have always liked the earthen color schemes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And it just brings good vibes for whatever reason, and that's why I decided to employ that theme in the form of existing Plutonia textures plus textures from other resources that have textures that can really kind of like match the Plutonia theme. Which on one hand can be like a kind of like a tan, stony grass theme, but on the other hand, it can also be kind of like a darker tech theme with yellow accents and stuff. And I decided, since I love that theme and I really would like to, reproduce it somehow, I decided to use it in Chill 4. And another thing that I wanted to add was that I'd never used textures on my or custom textures on my previous installments of Chill.
Right.
I just use DooM2 textures, kind of like what you said earlier. And but this time around, I'm taking a way more deliberate approach to mapping, because the first 3 installments was basically just just me freestyling across the grid on Doom Builder.
Right.
And but this time I'm really like carefully like thinking about the flow of every map and how people are gonna like react to it and what they might think of it.
Right. So it's like at this point where it's like you're really honing your craft now and pushing out
exactly, yeah,
something in that mind. And I think, I love what you said earlier, and I didn't get a chance to highlight that thought, but you had mentioned that there's not going to be this focus of an overabundance of detail in your
Right.
maps, and the explanation that you give were a lot of times if you do very simple but on point detail, meaning detail sectors, detail things in the right places,
Use the right textures.
yeah, the image will take care of itself. And I'm with you on that. And I fall victim to that as a mapper, where I'm just like detail, detail, detail. Like every nook and cranny of every sector has to have line depth split every which way with.
I get that urge too.
Yeah, and it's very hard to turn off. You're really big on that, and another guy, I'm gonna bring him up again, is Chain Dude, is really big on that, where he's like, look, don't focus on fucking detail, focus on gameplay and layout first. And it's so true, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I think word of the wise to any new and up and coming mapper, if you have any sort of questions about that, I think that's the biggest takeaway, is first learn how to build a competent map that flows.
Exactly, yeah.
Because it is, obviously as a mapper, I'm not a great mapper the same way that even someone like you, who's been a part of big projects and compiled things, Chain Dude, Russ King, who I had on last time, a bunch of the UD guys, really, Rot King, and I know I'm forgetting a lot of people. Look, I'm not intentionally doing that. I'm just naming people that come to mind.
Okay, I'll take your word.
But yeah, whatever, dude. But but yeah, it's for me. I build maps I have this idea of I want to do this theme because how fucking cool would that be? I'm gonna make a map in the middle of a volcano, or I'm gonna make a map hanging above Earth. I'm gonna make a map inside of a fucking cavern. And
wow.
So I have this really big, so if you look at my maps, they're wow, the atmosphere is really good. It definitely feels like that. But I've had to be really careful because I've had to redo a lot of maps recently, because I got into that trap where I detailed first, focused on gameplay second. And the map looked good, but it played like shit. So it's definitely a hard habit to get out of, and a very dangerous habit to form. So if you as a mapper, or you as an inspiring mapper, take that as your rule of thumb: gameplay first, detail second. So I'm going to close out the discussion on mapping. We've talked a lot about that in great detail. I think that's one of your greatest contributions to the community. But you had also mentioned to me that you had contributed code to UDMX, which I did not know. So I didn't even know you dabbled with code at all. So yeah. So talk to me about that, because I actually think that's pretty interesting too.
I mean, last year, I just contributed contributed some code in the form of just some fixes for bugs, mainly interface related bugs. And but besides that, I haven't really done much. But I plan to contribute more code eventually once I get some of these courses of my software development curriculum over with, since I'm already approaching the end of the program and should soon get my degree next year. And but yeah, because as you can imagine, UDMX is the result of the evolution of different ports.
Yeah, for sure.
That includes both old code, from the Doom days in the 90s, and the new code, from ZDoom and whatnot. And there's a lot of hacks involved. And programming in general mostly involves you trying to understand other people's code. And in this case, there's a lot of detective work you got to do, because there's so many different hacks used.
Sure.
There's old styles of writing, in C, C++, and new styles of writing in it, and so on and so forth. And it was pretty cool. It was actually it's my first time really delving into an actual full-blown project with respect to programming. And UDMX has come a long way over last year, thanks to Alex Max and Hobo Master.
Right.
And they should have already fixed the mouse and just really tidied up the overall port for the next release.
I haven't played UDMX recently, although I haven't played much Doom at all recently, but I know that's a big fix right now. Is that, last I knew, Denzo was doing a bunch of playtesting on a new build, and apparently it was supposed to be really good. He was really happy about it. And look, if you guys don't know Denzo, a shout out to Fabio, however you pronounce it.
Fabio.
He is a very, very particular player about his mouse sensitivity. Like, you
He
know,
told me all the time about it until I was like, all right, you know what? Let me just have you talk to the other developers in UDMX or whatever.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the guy's obsessed with his mouse sensitivity. So I think if there's any guy that you want to have on your team, you know, doing playtesting, he's a guy you want. And he's a great player, so it helps that he's also really good at the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, let's now shift our focus from UDMX, because you had mentioned to me too that you had really started changing, you know, flipping the script, if you will, changing things up in 2009 and beyond with the clan. I don't even know what the fuck a collab is. With Optimum, the clan OP, and Skulltag, which you had described to me as being, you know, probably like the last titan of clans in the Zandronum community at that time, before everything kind of just like died.
Skulltag, dude.
Yeah. Skulltag. Whatever, man. Just go ahead, Skulltag.
It was back when it was still Skulltag, because I think like 2011, I think was the year when it turned into Zandronum, and yeah, OP was a clan that I founded in 2009, and we're pretty much like the best, you know, besides R. And the last like official full blown clan war that I could think of was between OP and R in 2009, in the summer of 2009. We played on 3 different game modes. We played CTF, we played duels, and we played TDM. Unfortunately, we just barely lost to them. We won duels, and then we just barely lost in TDM and CTF. But that was like that's kind of like the last glimmer of that whole competitive environment that you alluded to earlier, that kind of informed the late 2000s. And OP was a really fun clan, because I was in a way trying to like come up with my own version of 7th, which I don't know if you know it, but 7th stood for 7th Cavalry. It was Shackleton's clan on Skulltag way back in the day, like 03, and lasted until 05, which is when UD decided to just like, you know, subsume the whole clan, as in absorb all the members and make them UD. Because like Rock King, for example, he was 7th. Shackleton was 7th.
Okay, I didn't know that actually.
Yeah. And yeah, they're like friendly rivals, 7th and UD in the early Skulltag days, until UD decided just like, you know, absorb 7th into its gut. And yeah, OP was like a clan that I tried to that I created with like the spirit of 7th in mind. I was like, you know what, this is gonna be like the new 7th right here, and it kind of was, and it was really cool because like it was me, Eddie Spaghetti, and,
Spaghetti,
fucking Eddie Spaghetti. He was like my adopted son at the time, dude. Very, very easily influenced, and and we had a couple other cool members like Goblin. You know Goblin, right?
Yeah, I know Goblin.
Yeah. And the Acolyte was another one.
Yeah, I was just talking to him today, actually. Funny enough.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And that
Shout out to
that's
Acolyte.
our clan, basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, I gotta bring it up, but before I do...
Oh, yeah, I know what you're going to bring up.
But let me talk about, before I do... What? You have a Master Bowl championship just like me. So, from one Master Bowl champion to another, tell me about your moment of glory, because all you've talked about this entire cast is how unfortunately we just came up short. Well, god damn it, you finally fucking broke through. You finally got one. You did it, Denny. You fucking did it. Tell me about it, Denny. Tell me. God damn, go.
Well, back in 2013, I think it was the winter season of 2013, one of the last seasons of IDL, which is basically, you know, what became WDL.
Yeah.
Soon thereafter, you know, Ralph, we've always had a rapport, and he had faith in me, and I guess he knew to some extent that I was like an underrated player who had a lot of potential. So he decided to bring me aboard his team, because he's known as like the one of those few people who consistently sign up as captain, and just do all their damnedest to fucking win.
Yeah.
And he's like that. And he decided to take me and Turska on board, along with Dr. Sean as a backup. And And yeah, we ended up winning that Master Ball against a team that consisted of Watermelon, Fluffles, and Dragon, I think. Yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, somehow we won. And because like I was gonna say, I'm a very inconsistent player. Like I was never one of those dudes who's like gonna be like gung ho every time he sits down and play Doom.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's because of like my just a volatile disposition or whatever, or if I or whatever. Yeah, but I've always had potential. If
Yeah.
I actually really try, because especially now, like I already have like a good feel of a
Right. Yeah.
game enough to just kind of like freestyle and just kind of go with the flow, so to speak. And yeah, it was good to see Ralph kind of like to see that in me.
Well, you guys, I mean, obviously we're clan members, but you weren't in UD forever. What happened there? Like, did you get kicked out? Did you just leave on your own accord? I just remember one day it's like, oh, he's not in UD anymore.
Oh, great! Here comes TMZ
Okay, here we go. All right, I'm fucking
with
listening.
Marty.
Let me get out. Let me get out my notepad and my pen. All right, I'm listening. Talk to me, Dennis.
What happened? Oh, now you're my therapist? I thought you were the fucking paparazzi, dude.
I could do whatever I want. I can be whatever you want me to be.
Man. I was gonna say something, but I figured it wouldn't be a good word to say on here.
Yeah, don't deplatform me, please. It's only my second podcast.
It's so easy though.
I'm aware, and I am begging and asking for mercy.
Does anybody hear this guy right now?
No, they don't hear shit. So what happened? Why'd you get kicked out of UD? Talk to me.
Here's the scoop.
All right, give me the scoop.
Originally, like in 2009, I was taking my humor a little bit too far, and which I do admit to doing, because like it's like eventually like people are like, is he really now serious? Everyone's like keep fucking like fucking with people, calling them out for all sorts of shit.
Oh yeah.
And it reached the point where Ralph stood up and was like, you know what? You've been a monumental asshole. These were his words. He called me a monumental asshole, quote unquote. And as a result, I was kicked from UD basically. And that's pretty much why I ended up founding OP.
Okay.
Which, funnily enough, like early on, it's like after its conception, it actually had like Rock Kings and everyone Alex Max, because they're like the three people who kind of like stuck their necks out for me. But eventually OP faded, and then like as time went by, we forgot about whatever beef that was.
Yeah.
So I didn't consider myself a UD member again.
Oh well, I think I've always I think of you. I think of Unidoom. To me at least, and I think we're going to touch on this a little bit later towards the end of the cast, but like we all change and we all grow, and a lot of that shit back then was just dumb. We were kids,
right?
But speaking of kids, I want to talk about the infamous stories with Widowmaker. If anybody does not know, Widowmaker is a very volatile community member. Played across multiple ports, multiple clans.
Multiple arrests.
What's that?
Multiple arrests.
Multiple arrests. He might be in jail as we speak. We're not sure.
Might be dead.
He could be dead. I hope not. But I'll be honest about the guy. I will. I never actually had a real problem with him personally.
Yeah, same.
Like a lot of people, I fucked with him because I was a dick and he was easy to get a reaction out of. And not only would he give you a reaction, I mean, he would blow the fuck up, dude.
Very insecure.
Yeah. And so I remember, this is before you get into some really good juicy stories. I remember an instance, and you were with me. There were a couple of times we did this, but me, you, and Shackle took over a couple of his IRC channels. And I remember the first time that we had done it, at least the first memory I have, it very well could be in any order. At the time, I was like really big into producing music. I I wrote a lot. I lay down a couple of tracks, but I was more into creating and producing, especially with like beats and stuff. So I showed him a beat, and like he's like me, white dude, from Ohio. We're close to Eminem territory, so we're like, fuck yeah, man, like, white rappers stick together and shit. And so I showed him one of my beats because at that time I was just showing anybody anything that I did, and honestly, it was probably trash. And in quality, at least in quality. I mean, and what it was, and like the artistic, like that's a different measure. But he was like, "Yo, man, that's tight. Like that's real fucking cool. Like, dude, like we should get on a track and everything." So we already like had this elaborate plan to take over his IRC channel and kick everybody out of it. Basically, at the time they were in Clan Tyrants, so it was the little capital T at the end of their names that they did in brackets. So I told him, hey, man, I will get on the track with you if you make me a member of T and give me mod powers. And lo and behold, that's what he did. And I got in. You guys joined as soon as I got in and got the powers. I granted you guys powers right away, like I had the fucking command like copied, and so I could put it in and give it to everybody. Yep. And as soon as we all got the powers, we fucking banned all of them.
That's it, lights off, yeah.
I mean, he had ownership, so like if he actually knew how, he could have easily gotten it back. But he didn't know how, so
hey, yeah, we got to take advantage of that.
We ended his IRC channel and we raided it. And this did not only happen once; this happened several times. We found a new way every time to get this.
Like you said it was elaborate. This wasn't even elaborate, dude. It was just like took like a couple of seconds of talking to him, and it's like using a certain username like Teenage Zombie. That chick who plays Udamon.
Yeah.
And
nude pics and whatnot.
And then one of us, I guess I was the one who did it. I went into the next channel that he made, and he just gave me ops immediately, and it's like banned him from like the new channel that he just made, and did it like 9 more times in a row.
And it was just like we had screenshots and everything. That was the first. That was the first thing. That was like the first time I'd ever really had any like interactions with Shackle beyond just like cordially playing. Like I never had issues with Shaq. Vadim. I don't know how to say it like that.
Vadim.
You got anything you want to say to him?
What does that mean? What am I like, gonna get into a fight with him or some shit?
Well, you're always giving him a hard time.
Oh no.
I love Vadim.
I always liked him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know anybody who dislikes him. I'd wonder why. The guy's harmless, but he's a big troll too. And we took over. And I just
came in and just like we didn't even like take over. He just like gave us everything we needed.
Yeah, and I remember the private messages afterwards. You motherfucker! I trusted you. And
he's got to give the whole like tearful speech.
He threatened me a couple of times, and honestly, I believed him. I'm gonna fucking shoot you if I ever catch you in my city.
Well, he's from southwestern Ohio, which you describe as Kentucky.
Yeah, don't worry. You'll never catch me in Kentucky.
Cincinnati.
You'll never catch me in Cincinnati.
Toledo.
What's that?
Toledo.
Shout out to the 419. Whatever, dude. Like, we're not all from fucking New York. We're not all, hey, goddamn, my name's Dennis, but it's totally my name. Trust me.
That is. I mean, I used to tell people my name is Anatole just to fuck with them.
And they fucking believed you.
Yeah.
Didn't somebody call you like Tolik or something too?
Tolik. Yeah, that's like the diminutive form of Anatole in Russian. Tolik.
Okay. So you got me there, buddy. But
I guess so.
Shut up, dude.
You fucking idiot. Come on.
Yo, fuck you. Piece of shit.
Episode 2, dude.
You said what?
This is like Widowmaker episode 2. Like, the stream is like a channel the Widow made, and you're Widowmaker.
Oh man, that's really fucking low. I'm gonna have to cancel you for that.
Nasty of me.
Oh, that was You basically what you did is you pulled my pants down and you ripped my dick off in front of everybody and stepped on it.
No, I didn't touch anybody's dick, dude. No way.
Well, okay, maybe you had like gloves or like a set of hedge trimmers or something, but you basically just ruined me in front of everybody.
Papi, what's wrong with you?
I'm gonna need you to apologize.
¿Cómo estás?
Estoy bien, ¿y tú?
Muy bien.
Gracias, me alegro. Okay,
Gracias.
so, fuck you, dude. Now people are gonna make fun of me for this shit. They're like, oh my god, do you know hate speaks Spanish?
Yeah, it's complete news.
Yeah, I'm tired of it, by the way.
Yeah, you should be.
Yo, imagine making fun of somebody for learning another language. But that's besides the point.
People who have lower than a 3.9 GPA.
3.9
degree.
First of all, I have a degree. 3.99. You know, if you're going to throw out that number, make sure you throw it out correct.
This guy's a genius. I'm glad that he's interviewing me today.
Yo, go ahead and just, let everybody know how fucking smart I am. This is what I was worried about. Like, you're gonna take this off the rails. You're gonna make fun of me. I'm gonna just be like, I'm Widowmaker. I'm basically gonna like fucking cry in a corner. I trusted you, but
it's funny. It's entertaining, dude.
Yeah. Well, speaking of entertaining, okay, man. Give me 2 of your most epic Widowmaker stories because you spent some time with him personally.
Oh Lord! You really went there.
I fucking went there.
Yeah, I can see that you're upset now.
Yeah, I need to. This is my way of getting back at you.
So Widow and I, we had a very close rapport, and at a time when we were both struggling, we figured we would get an apartment together. Well, actually, it was my apartment already, and I was like, hey, you know what? You can just like come over and help me out since he was out and about. And didn't have his own place to stay and shit. And we spent about like 4 months in that apartment, and which we ended up just getting evicted out of. Okay. We didn't pay a fucking single month of rent. we just boozed all the fucking time.
The dream.
Just built up a huge landfill in the living room of just all sorts of like fucking cheeseburger wrappers. Fucking whole skyline of sorted bottles of alcohol, and yeah, that was a weird time because I at first I had the impression that he was like cool, goofy kind of guy, and based on our online conversations and stuff and over the phone, and but then in person. Within like a couple of weeks, I realized, wow, this guy's a fucking nutcase.
Okay.
Like he, no, really, like I don't.
No, I know, I got you. I understand. I'm just saying, like your response is probably like, okay, like what I mean.
No, he had like a drug problem, big heroin problem, and he like here's one story. Like we went to the bar, the local bar. And he got mad at the bartender because they didn't serve triple shots of whiskey.
Is he trying to die?
And that made him mad. He always is. And
he always is.
For real. No, he's one of those basket cases who like are just like they have like whatever issues bothering them, and they just can never like part ways with it.
Yeah, just over the top and everything.
Let it define them, basically.
Yeah.
And eventually, like the guy who owns the place, he came over and he said, "You're banned for life. Dennis can stay though."
Amazing.
He just kicked him out the door, and yeah, he wasn't able to go back. And that's just like one minor example of how like volatile and nuts he is. Like he even there's a guy who we got weed from, and we sometimes got some Xanax from him and shit. And he came over to the apartment once, and he said that he had some promethazine tablets. Promethazine is just like an antihistamine, like a particularly strong one, which isn't a benzodiazepine like Xanax or
no.
And but like even though he was like forthcoming about this, like Dave Widowmaker, he like looks at me with this like there's like mischievous grin on his face, and I'm like, oh my god, he's thinking that he's getting like ripped off right now, and then he proceeds to fucking wallop the guy, and I gotta get in between the two to stop the fight, which ended up having the cops called on us.
Oh boy!
They would go upstairs, and Dave was like, yeah, I got in a fight with a drug dealer.
He said a drug. Why? I'm pretty sure like the cops are like, and why was a drug dealer here?
Yeah, they didn't even go into that. They were just like, the safety of the premises.
You know what? This is fucked up enough as it is. I'm not even gonna ask. You know what? You're off the hook for why the drug dealer was here. Let me just get the fuck out of here as soon as I can. Yeah, man. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, it's funny and we're laughing, but I mean, I'm sure at the time, like that's pretty traumatic, right? Like it's like, Jesus, what the fuck is happening?
Oh yeah. Like in retrospect, it's frightening. It's
yeah.
Like, Jesus, I was in that situation.
Well, I mean, you know, and to kind of close everything out, I want to make this a highlight, I think. And the most important thing is that, like, you know, yeah, you grow up, but like short of like, you know, murdering or like raping somebody, like we grow as people, right? And like we could be in some very dark places in our lives.
Oh yeah. Can happen to anybody.
And you know, I think it speaks volumes about a person that's able to pull themselves up out of that. So I mean, when I speak to you about this stuff, like you're very open about it and you're very honest and it's funny, but there's a part of me too that's just like, dude, I respect the shit out of you for that, because like to get out of that is so fucking hard. Most people don't. Oh, yeah. I mean, statistically, you were more likely to die in that lifestyle than you were to be where you are now. And and I think, you know, personally that's admirable. And you know, despite everything that I've said about you, about being a troll and everything, the reality is I've never known you.
Asshole.
I'm sorry, dude. And, you know, people are going to be like, God damn it, he just keeps saying I'm sorry. But in all seriousness, like, I hear a story like that, and it's very inspiring, too, because it just speaks on how we as people can change and grow constantly. And you know, and that really is, like, I think the cool thing about Doom, because it's almost like a microcosm of us in life, where, you know what, we all knew each other when we were little snot-nosed shits. You know, we were socially awkward, you know, fuck boys that, you know, played edgelord and tough guy on the internet for a number of years. You know, and we said some pretty bad things about each other. I mean,
oh yeah.
I mean, I've went there.
Nice.
I mean, I've gone there. I know you've gone there. All of us have. And I see a story like yours, and it's just honestly, you know, as somebody that's known you, I consider you now a friend. You know, good shit. Like, you're the fucking man. And
so are you, Jamie.
And I think that. And I think
you are the daddy of those 4 kids.
That's me. That is me. But it's just
be more certain about that. Yes, that's me.
Yeah, nah, man, I'm not. I'm just fucking with you. I am definitely. They look like me. They can't deny me.
God.
Yeah, yes. Poor them, right? But yeah, I think it's awesome, man. And I think, you know, both of us have grown. I think you've grown. I've grown. You've done a lot for this community, and I think now the cool thing is we get to find our place in the community again.
Right.
And I loved seeing, you know, when I saw you back, I'm not gonna lie, I was just like, oh shit, like this guy's gonna fuck with me, and
again.
This guy's gonna, you know, he's gonna make fun of me, and you know, I'm like nice now and sensitive, like I'm gonna fucking cry. I'm like, I got kids. I got kids, man. How could you say that about me? How could you talk about Eddie Spaghetti like that?
Well, Eddie Spaghetti, he's not anybody's father, hopefully.
If you've seen his videos, trust me, you understand the context. You know, the guy literally eats chicken off of a toilet, so
he's a hillbilly.
Great guy, man. Shout out to Ed. We love you to death, Ed.
Shout out to Eddie Spaghetti and Shithouse Deluxe.
Shithouse Deluxe.
Plug for the crew. It's pretty much Doom's #1 clan today.
Oh, okay.
It's got me, Eddie Spaghetti, and Zoan, Tom D, and a lot of other great folks.
Alpha
It's,
too, right?
#1 Alpha 2.
Yo, don't forget my man Will.
And Sharp, you know,
All right.
Paolo. And it's great. You know, we're huge content creation enterprise that kicks ass at Doom. House Deluxe. Wow.
Well,
that's our motto. Yeah.
You know,
Anna's in it too.
Yeah, well, I think the cool thing is too is like a lot of people don't know this about you, but speaking about personal growth and everything, I want to give you another plug before we really close things down. I want to get to some fan questions. Actually, we got some people in the stream, right. But you do a lot of music actually, and like, I'm not gonna lie, like your shit is fire. Like, if you got a YouTube video or anything, or you got something where you post these, I'm more than happy to put them in the comment sections of this of the YouTube to be like, yo, check out my man Nautilus. You know what I'm saying? Dennis living in Arizona where it's hot.
Yeah.
Where it's warm like his bars. Oh, shit.
Nah, these are hot bars. They're not warm bars.
Hot. Fucking lava boys.
Hopefully.
Lava daddies. Ooh.
Lava daddies. You just want to stick your fucking daddy name into everything.
Yeah, I really thought you were going to say something else.
Daddy. Leave me alone, dude.
Yo, I'm gonna just ignore that part. So anyway,
good luck.
Got a couple people in the chat. I'm gonna keep this up for a little bit longer. Y'all got anything you want to say to me or Dennis the fucking menace, hailing from, the West Coast,
Phoenix,
Arizona. Hold on, we say okay. So Gib Overkill's got something, and he just said heh. Yeah, why don't you go?
I know that guy.
Yeah, why don't you just go fuck yourself, buddy? Because if you don't have anything and that's all you got,
Is that what he said? Gib Overkill, it's not nice.
Yo, he just said, "Hey," I think he's mocking you. Val Vaginas, aka Fran, said, "Yo, can we get a shout out to all the smug doomers?" That's how he said it too. That's exactly how he sounded. Doomers. You know how funny little Philadelphia accent.
Oh yeah.
Real funny talking.
I already gave a shout out to Shithouse Deluxe. Those are some smug pieces of shit.
I love it. I fucking love it.
SHD.
Yeah, we love you too, Gib. But yeah, I mean, so I definitely think,
Yeah.
Looking at this.
Fuck it.
Indeed. So, all right, man. Well, this was a lot of fun. I actually learned quite a bit, and I will have you on again anytime. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I'd be down.
You said what now?
I said I would be down.
You would be down. Okay, I like it. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything else you want to throw out there before we close this out?
I mean, that's about it, but I might as well, just remind listeners that Chill 4 is in progress. And the boy Jamie over here, he's contributing maps to it as well.
Yeah.
Good WAD. By objective standards, I mean, it's good for dual. It's mainly for dual, but it's also good for TDM and FFA and so on. We should be wrapping it up like a couple months or so.
All right, man. I fucking love it. All right, thanks again, man. That's going to be it for us. Y'all take care now. We'll see you next time.